Manchester United have got a lot of problems, and one of the massive problems that we've got is in the fullback area. And I would say, not that left back's good, but I feel like right back is a particular problem for Manchester United. And I've got a player that United can go and get. I've got a player that's going to improve us. But before I talk about this player in particular, I want to talk about what you need as a fullback. Modern fullbacks but they're becoming increasingly important. I think the over-proliferation of midfield and possession play has led to a bit of a stalemate in the midfield arms race. And that's pushed the fullbacks to be one of the most important players on the pitch. And there's multiple ways to utilise your fullbacks in possession. Manchester United in previous years have gone to Luke Shaw and to Antonio Valencia in a massive way. And those players would hold a lot of the possession for Manchester United. Manchester City used Cancelo as one of the major playmakers of the team, and he looks to feed the ball through the centre of the pitch. Liverpool looked to Trent Alexander-Arnold, and Chelsea looked to Reece James as being a wide fullback that's very much an attacking player that finds himself in space because of the oddity of how his formation and his team set up, leaving him usually quite free in the final third. Now, none of those are the right or wrong way. They're all a tactical interpretation by that manager, but it's a universal truth that fullbacks are becoming increasingly valuable in possession, which means every modern day fullback is going to need to be a comfortable player in possession, to the extent where you can't have a number 6 that's not mint. You're soon going to be able to not have a fullback that's not mint, certainly not mint in possession. I also think it's becoming increasingly important and prevalent that you have to be a threat in the final third. Inverted forwards and narrow forward 2s and forward 3s is making it more and more increasingly likely that the width supplied in a football team is coming from the fullback area. So you have to be a threat in the final third. And that's not just about crossing. Cancelo's a threat in the final third for Manchester City without ever really getting to the final third. He's still someone that's making things tick in the final third. Reece James and Trent Alexander-Arnold, different in the way they do it from each other, but also the way they do it from Cancelo. You're going to need the ability to link play, and I think that's probably the most important thing. They're essentially becoming a midfield position. And they're going to be able to take the ball from the bottom third, from the defence and the goalkeeper, and move it into the final third, or to rotate possession around the middle third. You're going to need excellent recovery speed because they are still a defender, and the weakness of them being a poor defender can be massively exposed in a backline. And of course, you have to have a good delivery and good decision making. Because they're becoming such a key position, they are becoming match winners at both ends of the pitch. Now, the young man that I've got in mind has got all of these traits, and these are traits that Wan-Bissaka and Dalot lack in unison. I think Tellez has got some of these traits, but not all of these traits. I think Luke Shaw has got a couple of these traits, but not all of these traits. If I look specifically at the right-back position, Ethan Laird has got the potential to do this, but he's not doing it at the same level as this lad is currently doing it. And right-back being a position of weakness and probably not the main priority, I think we could assign a budget of somewhere in the region of 20 to 25 million pounds and have a little bit of a gamble, but someone that's maybe not world class, but certainly an upgrade on what we've got. And I think an upcoming right back, rather than an established right back, is what Manchester United need to go for. I think it's a no-brainer. And I don't think this young man significantly dents Manchester United's transfer budget, but I think he significantly improves our gameplay. And I, more importantly, think he suits Erik ten Hag a lot more. And that right back is Jed Spence, Nottingham Forest fullback, currently on loan from Middlesbrough, 21 years of age, supposedly valued somewhere in the region of £20 million. He has been exceptional in the Championship this season, a league that I am fond of watching because of the basketball nature of some of the games. Now, when you watch a fullback playing in the Championship, you're going to get a good indication of how he would perform in the Premier League. And remember Reece James had, I think they might have even been League One at the time when he went on loan to Wigan and absolutely ripped it up. There is an indication of performing in the Championship leads to performing in the Premier League. He's making the EFL Championship Team of the Year. He's helped them to 3rd place, and they're still within a shout of automatic promotion as they're level on points with Bournemouth with 1 game remaining. He's got 8 goal contributions in all competitions this season, which is 3 goals and 5 assists. That's 8 more than Delo and Wan-Bissaka have combined for this season. They've got 0 between them. He was the highest rated fullback on Who Scored this season and the 11th ranked player overall. Defensively, he's been absolutely solid, averaging 1.6 interceptions, which is the joint 2nd most, 1.3 tackles per outing, whilst also further up the pitch he's been a nuisance with 1.9 dribbles, which is the 2nd most, and 1 key pass per game. His most notable trait is probably his speed. You can't get away from the kid. He's blisteringly quick. But you mesh that with size. He's 6'1". He's a real athletic player. And I think he can become a beast. And I think the low price of him, this is like when, I mean, there's actually countless examples of this. Mason Mount doing it in the Championship, Jack Grealish doing it in the Championship, Reece James doing it, I think it was Championship, it might have even been League One, like I said. There's so many players that are doing it in the Championship and people go, can he do it in the Premier League? Yes. The only difference between the Championship and the Premier League is quality. The physicality is probably more intense. The intensity is equally as intense. There's just that little bit of quality. When you bring a player over from Portugal or Spain, and sometimes even the Bundesliga, it takes them a while to get used to the intensity of the physicality. The quality is similar, but the intensity of the physicality is something that is hard for them to keep up with. And you speak to players, and I'm fortunate enough to be able to talk to a few players, and I say, what's the difference between Championship, lower level Premier League, and the very, very top end? And quite often it's speed, and it's not always just foot speed, it's speed of thought. But the Championship crushes you. The Championship really squeezes you and makes you make quick decisions. And those quick decisions that you're forced to make in the Championship lead to making good decisions in the Premier League, especially if you have a higher caliber of player around you. Jed's a young player. He's 21, but he plays with a maturity and intensity and a quality that undoubtedly improves Manchester United. If you want to be a possession-holding team that looks to get on the front foot and aggressively defends, Jed Spence is one of those players. United aren't going to be able to go and find a 60, 70 million pound player for every position. If Ten Hag wants to replace the entire 11, you're talking about $1 billion. And that's $1 billion if you get every single transfer correct. You're going to get some of these transfers wrong. So you might as well try and get some bargain buys. And if you don't succeed on a £20 million buy for Jed Spence, which I honestly think you're gonna, but if you don't succeed on a £20 million gamble, you've not really lost anything, because the resale value on probably a 23-year-old Manchester United player with a bit of time left on his contract will be in the region of 20 million anyway. You can't lose with this player. And what you could do is you could actually get yourself a 50, 60 million pound right back for 20 million. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, five-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.